Welcome to Toffee TV. It is Club Call time. If you're on Toffee TV Premiere, then please get in touch with us. Give us a call. The link is at the top of the screen. Get in touch wherever you are. Whether you were in America last week and you want to share some of your experiences watching the Toffees in America, or you want to respond to Everton signing Reuben Vinagre, or you want to talk about Dwight McNeil, or you want to talk about Gana, get in touch with us. Give us a... Who are you going to call? Who are you going to call?
Us?
Yeah, us, not Ghostbusters, us. Unless you've got a ghost.
Yeah,
then
don't call
us. Don't call us.
Do not call us if you've got a ghost.
We're not the ghost people. We're the football people. So there you go. So get in touch with us, please do. Ned will be ready on standby to take your call. Yeah, there you go. But if you're a red and you don't, can't be bothered with that kind of stuff this week.
We've been there, done that, haven't we?
Definitely.
We've definitely been there, done that.
So, one in the door. Reuben
Vinagre, yeah. He's an Everton player. Took the time to announce it. I mean, the club announced it hours before. Well, you know, the website, YouTube announced it a few hours before Everton did. But he's in. And a bit of backup for Michalenko. Talked about great players. Working with Frank Lampard, Ashley Cole and stuff, so makes the squad a little bit stronger. We haven't addressed the areas that need addressing.
No,
still, but he does make the squad a bit stronger. It means we've actually got two natural left backs. The Nkunku stuff, we spoke about this earlier, haven't we? Earlier in the week. Be interesting to see what happens with him now. He's got less than a year. Do Everton give him a new contract? We've just seen Tyler Onyango sign a new deal and go out on loan. Something we've seen quite a lot recently. Ellis Sims, of course, joining Sunderland. That's a good move for him. But where does that leave Nathan Broad? I think there's a couple of League One teams looking at him. But for someone like Nkunku, had a year on loan, contract up next year. What does he do? Do Everton just let him go now for a nominal fee, or do they tie him down to another contract, get him on loan, and see whether he can improve over the next year? Yeah, I suppose it just depends on what. Well, it all does depend, doesn't it, on how good they think he is and the potential he's got. You know, is it good enough to wait? Is he good enough to wait another year to get that? You know, get him another year playing more games of football and then making the decision on him, or do they make that decision now? Another contract would buy them time. It's up to them. It's buying time because Vinagre is obviously a year loan with the option to buy. If Nkunku went on loan, if he signed, say Nkunku signed a new 2-year deal, it'd give Everton 12 months. If he hasn't really progressed, I was going to
say, if they give him a new contract, they're not actually losing out on anything, because if they let him go at the end of the season anyway, they'd make some money on him. So they wouldn't really be losing anything. It just depends, I suppose, how much they value him, how much they think he has got a chance to stay around.
And is there anyone who wants to take him now for money? Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So interesting one, but
well, how are you feeling about Vinagre?
I don't feel any way about him. I don't really. I think I think it makes sense. You know, I think he's an attacking left back who might be able to change, not change a game for us, but change the point of attack maybe late on in games. Give us something a little bit different. While, you know, if he comes on as a sub, a little bit, you know, he is naturally left-footed. That's a big plus for the whole balance of the squad, not just relying on one player. He's played in the Premier League. Kevin Felwell does seem to really like him. You know, we spoke about him when he was at Wolves, when I think he got Young Player of the Year. So he obviously thinks he's a good player. Maybe thinks he's just got lost a little bit in the last couple of years. And maybe he thinks Everton's a good place for him to find himself. It's a loan, so there's low risk. It wasn't a position anyone really thought we needed to strengthen in, but obviously they feel like we need 2 players for every position, and that does make sense. How many times last season did we lose a player, go out the team, and then suddenly you're replacing them with someone who plays in a different position, and then you're weakening that position then, and all it takes is a player to get injured in that position, and suddenly you find yourself all over the pitch, decimated with players playing out of position, and they're just not as good, or there isn't the balance. Certainly when you're playing a right-footed player on the left, you don't have the balance. So for me, it makes sense. It's not exactly what we need, but that's fine. That's fine. It's not like we've stopped looking for the players we do need just because we've brought him in. It's been done quite painlessly. It's been done in the space of 24 hours or so no issues, and hopefully now we move on to the next areas. But obviously the talk is Dwight McNeil, which is a little bit more a bit of a more controversial one. I think he's obviously more, well, it's 15 to 20 million, sounds like, with add-ons. Not a player who I've ever been impressed by. Player who's been in the Premier League for 3 seasons, something like that. I've never really been impressed by him, honestly. Left-footed as well, though. So again, gives you that balance, someone we haven't already got there. Yeah. In terms of his numbers, goals, poor return, assists, poor return, but chances created actually is quite decent. So if you're looking at it from that point of view, set pieces as well, probably decent on set pieces. So slightly different from what we've got already. Yeah, it's an interesting one considering that we've gone to Burnley and we've gone after Cornet and now we've gone back. Yeah, I'm not massively impressed by it. I must admit, I'm not massively impressed by it.
No, I've never been overly impressed with him, to be honest. I think he has got a nice left foot, though, to be fair. He does strike a good ball, but I thought we wanted power and pace. That's what Paul Clement done an article the other day talking about speed and pace, having pace in your team and all this, and then we go for someone who isn't renowned for that. But if the manager's got a plan for him, then that's a different thing. If we can put good quality deliveries in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin to benefit from, then it's fair enough. I'm sure somewhere there's a plan that fits together.
Okay, take your word for
and
it.
We don't need to see it, do we? Until we need to see it, basically, if that makes sense. But it's not one that I would have gone for, Dwight McNeil, put it that way. I think 15 million is a little bit more palatable than 20 million. But I think Everton still, for me, just don't buy the right kind of player, But at the end of the day, like I said, if they've got a plan and they think if we can get Dwight McNeil on the ball and he's putting crosses in, Dom will benefit from it. A bit like Benitez did it last year, didn't he, with Andros Townsend? Get the good cross of the ball, got Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the middle, and we'll see where we go from that. I think Everton have to address the centre midfield area. Gana on loan is one that is being talked about now. Again, another cheaper option. Might buy them a bit of time. And then we're still, it looks like it's Armando Brozier who they're putting all the hopes on in the final third. I did speak yesterday about Martin Terrier, who I haven't watched a few times. Spoke whenever it was on the early live or whatever it was yesterday about Terrier. That story came out last night as well. So he's another one who he done really well last season from a wide area, 21 goals. Emmanuel Dennis has been mentioned again today. So there are those kind of links to that wide area. But then how does that fit into what we've seen so far with the three at the back? Where did those play?
Well, maybe it doesn't fit in because we haven't got that player at the club already to play that stand away, and simply what we've been doing is playing to what we've got in a way. And if we do we do bring a player in of that kind, then we can start changing things about and playing. I don't think you can really play away if you don't have a certain kind of player. And
well, Craig says if we ended up with Tarkowski, Vinagre, Guy, McNeil, Brozier or Cornet and Barkley, I'd feel very confident, very positive rather, about the season. I mean, we could end up with Tarkowski. We've got Tarkowski and Vinagre already. Gana is an option on loan. We could get him. McNeil looks like it's progressed now. So, and then we could easily end up with Brozier, and then that's what 5. And Barkley at the end of the window.
Yeah,
6 players, and then you might look at that squad and go, actually, that squad's actually decent.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it would probably be better on paper, and if we could, if that means we could get a couple out as well, then on paper it would probably look better. It's still not really going to achieve much, but if it's going to...
But what if it achieves 10th place and no threat of any
if it achieves
any danger?
If it achieves that, and it's all low risk and loans and that kind of thing, then fair enough.
It's done its job, and if you get a framework in, the next thing to that is then put younger players into that framework to keep that going.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Almost sounds positive.
Right, let's get Alex on the line. Alex, are you there, mate?
I'm here, can you hear me?
Yeah, go on, mate.
How are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
All good.
Good stuff. Just before I start, just wanted to say a massive thanks. I had a big operation on the day of the transfer window. So I was under anaesthetic, and just as I got up, my surgeon's a West Ham fan. I said, did we buy anyone? And he said, yeah, you guys have got Dele Alli. I said, I must still be under then. That can't be true. And then I switched on, and you boys were having a chat away about Dele Alli coming to the club. So yeah, it was good. I was lying there in bed watching the end of Toffee TV over the transfer window. So cheers, boys.
How are you now?
Yeah, mate, it's a hip. I've got a new hip. I'm only 38,
brilliant.
So no more footy, but yeah, back on my feet.
Did you say the best way to watch Toffee TV is under
anaesthetic?
Yeah, did you say that's the best way to watch it?
One of the things, yeah.
Yeah, mate, that's Everton at 3 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Look, I was just going to say that I think football teams can be overcomplicated. When you boil it down, it's recruitment, isn't it? It's the players you bring in, and it's the way you bring players through the academy. And I suppose when I look at it that way, you wake up on one side of the bed or the other. You look at it one way and you think, look how bad West Ham were a few seasons ago, look where they are now.
Yeah.
You look at Leicester under Puel when Rodgers came in, and look where they went. And you look at the likes of Brighton, who haven't always necessarily been in a safe position, but they do it the right way. And I know you boys talk a lot about it. But it always feels like you're either 2-3 transfer windows away from succeeding, or 2-3 transfer windows away from failure.
Yeah.
And if we can get it right, and some of the purchases we're making are logical, and we don't end up with some players that can't press and some players that can, you start to get a sense of it actually having some sort of formula. I think the problem that I find is it's like you're trying to fix it while it's already broken.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a real challenge, because you look at the pre-season games. It's clear that Lampard wants to play a 4-3-3. It's so obvious that's what he wants to play. But then when you play Patterson and Mikalenko, you just can't do it. And then you as a manager, you're compromised because you can't play the system and the way and the philosophy, if that's a bit of a corny word that you want to do, because you can't play it. And then you end up playing 5-3-2, which isn't a formation he probably wants to play. And then, when you've got those 3 in midfield, you're like, well, if you want to play a 4-3-3, you have to have a 6. You have to have 6.
Yeah.
And we don't have that. And if you want to play, if you want to play 4-3-3, does Dominic Calvert-Lewin do enough of that kind of in and out movement to hold 2 centre backs to him so those other wide players can come in? And that sort of seems like the challenge. You look at it and you think, if in a 5-3-2, what do you do with Iwobi? What do you do with Dele Alli? And that's what makes me uncomfortable going into next season. You almost look at it and you think, as much as we've got a bare thin squad, the brave thing to do is to get rid of some of these players that will just never fit in a system. Like I don't think Alan will ever fit in a system. He just needs to go. And it's painful because, you know, if we get an injury to, you know, Tom Davis again, who's our squad player, we're in deep trouble. But I think you need to be brave, and you need to get rid of these players and big wages, and then hopefully, like you discussed earlier in the call about, you know, getting these squad players in now, it might mean that you can come in at the end of the window and get someone who's really good. But you know, you look at that lad, who is it, Casido at Brighton?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone looked at him and it was like he wasn't good enough for Everton. And you look at him and you think, you know, 2 more seasons, he'll be a really good player. And I just don't get why, you know, you look at Dwight McNeil and you think, yeah, it's like, I just don't understand. But mate, I've been watching this show every single day. If you got £1 for every single time you said that, you guys wouldn't have to do this anymore, right? I just don't get why we seem to be missing it. And some of these players are, you know, we've been here before, you know, Maddison, you should have got Maddison, and we end up spending twice as much and we get Gylfi. And I just hope, you know, like I said before, if we can get things right, we're 3 transfer windows away from being in the top 6. We are, because David Moyes has done it at West Ham, and who knows, if David Moyes had come to us, maybe things would be different, but that's history. But I think it's important now that we are absolutely ruthless, and if people like Iwobi don't fit in the system, they have to go. They just have to go. And if that leaves us in a position where we bring in some of these young players in to play back up, then that's what we have to do, because we're never going to build a system when we've got some players that can fit in it and some players that don't. It will just never work. And that's why this new left back we've got coming in, you know, it's like what you said earlier, it's the right move, because he's a backup for a left back. We don't end up having Godfrey then playing left back, when then the whole system becomes 4 centre backs. But what I would say, as a last point, I was at my kid's 5th-year-old birthday party, and one of the parents there is in football, and he does a lot with some of the South clubs. And he was talking about Dennis, and he was saying that he hasn't, you know, although his numbers are really good at Watford, he hasn't gone down well at Watford. There was a lot of you know, late to training type jazz, and not getting on. A lot of the players didn't get on with him, and I think. And there was a lot of talk about. He also talked a lot about the Patterson deal as well. Interestingly, although maybe we don't talk about that on public, but
no.
He said it sniffed of something slightly off, put it that way. But I think the point there is, you know, it's not just about bringing in players like Dennis. You know, it's bringing in players that will come into the squad and work hard. You know, I think I was happy Richarlison left. I actually didn't rate him that much. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy saying that, but I thought I thought he was expendable. However, one thing that he did was he ran his socks off, and he ran right in. And if you've got a player that shrugs his shoulders, I mean, we've got enough of those already. We don't need any more of them. So I hope that, you know, those players that we're scouting, you know, that character and that experience that Thelwell can bring in will mean that not just bring in the right players to score goals, but they've also got the, you know, the Everton backbone to actually put a shift in and work really hard, because that's what we need.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good call, mate. I totally agree. It isn't. Sometimes you see someone and you think just go and buy him, but you have to do that background stuff on them, which sometimes will show up things you don't want to see, which will be, he's no good for us because of, like you said, he might be late to training, or he doesn't get on with the players, or things like that. And a bit of digging will bring that to the fore, and you move on from that, because what we need, especially in our situation, is everybody pulling in the right direction. That's what Everton need. If we don't have that, we've already seen it. You know, you hear people say it's a terrible dressing room, and now I'm not saying it is now, but over the last few years you've heard that looks a really bad dressing room. And Sam Allardyce, when he came in, said it was one of the worst dressing rooms he'd been in, and stuff like that, which is awful, given that Moyes had that one where everyone said it was a great dressing room. So you do have to do your due diligence on players, and sometimes us as fans will look and go, just go and buy him, but they've done a little bit of homework on him and found out that his character isn't exactly what you'd want. Craig Bellamy being one, if you want to go back to Moyes' era, that looked like the most sensible signing around. Pacey, got goals, we needed that pace, and Moyes met him a few times and decided he didn't like him.
No, and also go on, mate, go on.
I was going to say another one is, if you look at some of these players, I think you boys have talked about this before, where you're like, we don't need a player that will do 4 out of 10 5 games and 8 out of 10 2 games. You know, we'd be happy to have a 7 out of 10. And I kind of look back at some of the best years that I watched us, and I thought, Leon Osman. Would anyone really talk a big game about Leon Osman? But how many games did he just turn up and just did what he had to do? I remember some of those European games. It was like he just ran the game, but it wasn't. You didn't go to the end of the game and go, "Oh, he's one of our best players, is Leon Osman." But yet we don't have that player. We don't have that player who's a good technical player, but also has the backbone to get involved. Pienaar was the same. We had other players like that. Cahill. I mean, Cahill wasn't the most technically amazing player, but he just terrorised people, and he fitted in the system that Moyes wanted to play. And I just look at those players and I think, where are they now? And maybe I don't know. Maybe the game's changed and Leon Osman doesn't. Leon Osman would just get overrun in the modern day. I don't know, but you look at those type of players and you think, I wouldn't mind if I know we're looking for faster and stronger players now, because we just seem to, the amount of times you get run in midfield, you're like, come on guys, it's so obvious that anyone watching it can tell Gomez is just getting, and I remember some of those games with Davis and Gomez played in the middle of the park. You just turn on for 5 minutes, you just turn it off. I know exactly what's going to happen here. We're going to get murdered. If Tom Davis runs 10 yards in the wrong direction, we're in massive trouble. So I don't know. The ironic thing is that for years we wanted money, and then when we got it, we became worse versions of what we were. The best scouting we ever did was when we didn't have any money to spend. Gareth Barry. We got some great. Alan Stubbs. We got some great players in that were. And to your point earlier on the call, there has to be £5 million players out there. There has to be £10 million players out there. And I think the point is we need to get those players in, and if it means we go down, well, that would be terrible. None of us want that. But if it means we actually press the reset button, at some point we're going to have to do it anyways, aren't we? Because it's not working, and it hasn't worked for years. And I think it gets to a point where we need to start changing that. And I don't know. Maybe we tried it with Moise Keane and it didn't work, but I don't know. I think maybe some more due diligence could have been done on a player like that. Could have ended up with something better. So,
well, we had no idea. We had no idea for Moise Keane. That was the problem. We had no game plan for him. We got him. He was a highly rated young striker. He's just got 2 again yesterday against Barca. The lad will score goals, but you got to have a plan for him. You can't bring him in and then go, "Oh, I don't know what we're going to do with you." Stop bringing players in and then trying to decide what to do with them when they're here. Actually plan out your team and then go and look for people to drop into that team. And if Everton start doing that, they'll progress. Just collecting players because you think they're good footballers doesn't work. It really doesn't work. Go and build a team. Look exactly how you want to play, what you want to do, what you need to achieve that aim. It's like building a house. You don't just start putting bricks down and hope that at the end of it looks great. You have an architect to design your house for you, and then you get people in to follow those instructions, and then you get the result you want. Otherwise, you end up with a bloody mishmash, and that's what Everton have got.
I think the problem though is if you want to build a house, you knock it down and you start again. You can't do that.
Unless you extend it. You extend it, and you can still modernise it.
But this is the point. I think next season, if we're going to play 5-3-2, because I don't think we can play 2 midfield. If we play 5-3-2, then you've got enough centre backs to cover that. You've now got 2 left backs, 2 right backs. You've got Iwobi, Doucouré, Davis to be those kind of 8 side side, and maybe Delhi playing that. And then it starts to look like. Then you look at it that way, and you think, really, what we need is a 6, and we need Broja. And then it starts to actually look, and you think, well, it's not a great team, and a 5-3-2 is going to be a little bit turgid over the season. But equally, if we start 4-3-3 against Chelsea, we're going to lose the first 6 games of the season, and then it's going to be back to confidence low, playing 4 centre backs and going back to being negative. And so I think to your point, maybe you do start with the extension, but at least you can isolate it down. If we got Gana on a season low and he played in that 6, although I always thought that he was better being more box to box than this, but Gareth Barry, if we could get Gareth Barry back and he could play in the 6, and we could get Broja in as that kind of a 9 or 10 in off the left like Richarlison is, I think you've got enough there to then, say to Gray and to Gordon, right, one of you two is going to play, so compete for the position. And you've got to start being able to cross the ball, otherwise you're not going to play. And then say to Dele, Dele, you're going to be an 8 and a 10, and you've got to compete with Brozier to be that player off Dominic. And then at least if Dominic gets injured, you've got Brozier to play in as the 9. So when you pick that formation, you do wake up on the positive side and say that if we could get a really good 6 and a really good 10, or Brozier style wide forward, we can start the season and be competitive, which is what we need to do, and then get to 10th, go through that next cycle of FFP, which I still don't really understand, and then we start again.
Yeah. Excellent.
Cheers, Alex. Great
nice
call,
one, Alex.
mate.
Good. Carry on recovering.
Cheers, chaps.
All right,
mate.
cheers, mate.
See you
Take care.
Bye.
Ta-ra, pal. Ta-ra.
That's it.
Yeah.
Call from Alex. If you want to get your call on, then click the link at the top of the show on Toffee TV Premier. But yeah, there you go.
Steve says, Baz, did see Fulham signed Mbappe for 5 million? Yep. Steal that. Leo Dubois to Galatasaray for 5 million. Tagliafico for 4 million. Absolutely, mate. They are out there. We don't seem to like.
No.
We don't seem to like them, do we?
No.
Glenn says, Baz, need planning permission for it. You do. You do, mate. I have put an extension on my house many years ago. I know the exact. But yeah. Cam's in the comments. Suey says, McNeil gets 10 next season. Changed my mind. 10 what? Games?
Goals.
Do you mean 10 goals? McNeil, 10 goals. Come back to me, Cam, quickly. Well, I mean, literally wasn't what you were saying in America, but go on.
No.
Sound. I think Cam has been on the apple teenies again. That him and Ned were drinking last week. Yeah.
And the vodka and cokes without vodka.
Without vodka. Yeah. So essentially just mega cokes.
Mega coke.
That's all they were. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. 10 minutes. Gerin says that's what he gets next season. Gerin also says, I don't mind the idea of Barkley on a free for the idea of set pieces. Steve P says, should be going after Kate Cowell over McNeil. People will say it's a risk because he might not be good enough. Yeah, we already know McNeil isn't good enough. Kate Cowell would be a tremendous signing, but he is all potential at the moment. Don't know whether we'd get a work permit. Someone with work permit experience would have to know that. He's only young, but he is potential.
It's like Yannick typing.
Who's typing here?
I think it's Yannick typing. Let's get Yannick on.
Cam's gone 10 goals in all competitions.
Yannick, are you there?
Fair play to you.
Hey, how's it going, gents?
You're right, mate. We could hear you typing away there.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was typing a few things. A little bit of multitasking. I was waiting.
Fair play.
But, no, I'll be honest, I haven't really paid attention to too much lately. It's been kind of a nice break for me, but we got things coming up, so I'm still excited for the season. A quick note before we talk about anything, kind of topic wise, to anyone that's listening, it's like, keep it tidy on Twitter. We got enough problems to worry about. Stop worrying about everybody else. It's petty and it's not going to do you any good. I just need to say that every so often. I think we just got to kind of have a grounding rod and understand, like, we're on the same team here. So stop pushing and pulling. Everybody's got their own opinion.
Yeah.
Fair play.
But piggybacking off of what Alex was talking about, I think our scouting and analytics department, our negotiators, whoever you want to call it, we have everything completely flipped when it comes to our assessment of risk. Far too often do we assess risk by someone who has, Premier League experience or is from a team that we're familiar with or have done business with before, and we have a clear lack of understanding in assessing risk on upside, and it's completely ass backwards. Oh, sorry.
No, go on.
I don't. Most of the deals that we have, barring Broja I think would be decent. I think Barkley on a deadline day loan is fine. And then, I don't necessarily like the fella, but if he comes in and he does a decent job, it'll change my mind. If he's back to finding the bottom whatever bottle he can get his hands on, then well, at least it's just a loan. McNeil, Cornet, these look like bad deals because everyone might look at it as like, oh, well, Burnley has to let go of these players and things, but Burnley already knows how we do business, and when we start chasing down these lines, we're always the team getting taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Right. So they're they're easily available. It looks like cheap deals in terms of our ability to execute and the effort that it would take to get them done, and that's when your money just simply doesn't work for you. In a progressive manner. They're not particularly proven to be consistent. Push comes to shove, we're going to need some bodies because it's razor thin. We're a couple of big injuries away from being a for sure drop as far as it goes, in my opinion. But that's kind of how I assess, and I don't know. It seems in almost no time that I've really taken to look at, what's happening.
Yeah, I think the point you're trying to make there almost is there's not much value in these players. Is the long term in terms of like if you were to go out and bring in some younger players where you're paying like 4 or 5 million for. There's value in that. In a couple of years, you've got the potential to move those kind of players on. We're building a squad that has got very, very little, value in it, apart from Dominic Calvert-Lewin as it stands. And I think that's sort of what I'm taking from what you're saying is that you might be buying these cheap players or bringing people on loan, but there's no long-term value in that for us. And I think that's a bit of a worry as well. You're building a team to just get you through the next couple of years rather than thinking a little bit more long term. And even if that long term is who you sell in 2 or 3 years to who you invest in to sell on and then bring players through again. I think that's my worry about the way we're doing business at the moment.
They would say though Dwight McNeil's 22, played 130 Premier League games, wouldn't he? No, I'm saying. Listen, that I'm not as big.
I know,
fan.
But buying from buying a player that played in the Premier League, you're not exactly surprising anyone here, are you? He's 23. If he had any value in him, then other teams, the teams above us, would be knocking on the door for him. I just don't see much value in actually what we're doing. It's a very short-term thing, and I understand that. Like Yannick said, you're trying to build the squad out, and in 2 years, the stadium is, hopefully going to bridge a lot of those gaps. But there's very, very little value in what we're doing at the moment in long term.
Yeah. Absolutely, and in this window, we don't expect people to come in and for us to be, wildly better as far as it goes. But then the frustrating part is when I take a look at what we've done, and then you take a look at Brighton.
Yeah,
and then you start to understand what the problem is.
Yeah,
because they're a perfect example. They're not winning any leagues. They're or anything like that anytime soon. But there's a reason why their sporting director wanted nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But that's kind of my 2 cents. I am glad that we're it's unfortunate. I think I actually follow Run in Liga 1, so
okay.
I think we discovered them a little too late. They're a bit figured out after the Rafinha deal, after the Edouard Mendy deal, and there's a lot of cheap deals to be done in France. But once they figure out that English money is coming, the negotiations are probably going to be stern after some big clubs have come in, and they'll see what their players have done. But but yeah, the Rennes of the world, the Stuttgarts of the world, like there's value in a lot of these different clubs that we just seem to not look at, you know. But I still have faith. I think we'll get some deals done. I think we still have a good shot to be okay. And haven't kicked the ball yet in terms of the regular season, so we don't have to be all doom and gloom. So hope everybody's well out there.
We've got at least a couple of weeks, so we have to go all doom and gloom, don't we?
Easily. Yeah. My friends that have been supporting other teams, they're like, hey, you've been watching preseason. I said, not really. I'm just delaying my misery a bit.
Yeah.
But no, I'm still excited for the season. So
good.
Need to drop off, but it was good to just chat.
Cheers, Yannick.
With you fellas.
Cheers, Yannick. Thanks for calling,
Yannick.
mate.
Take care, mate.
See you later.
Ta-ra,
mate.
Bye.
There you go, Yannick.
Ben James says hi, Ped and Baz. August 1st, going to get Patron Premier, the same thing. Yeah, they're the same thing, mate. So, welcome, Ben, on the 1st. Good choice. Cam says McSteel sounds like something he'd like to eat.
Everything sounds like something we'd like to eat.
Yeah. He handled his food quite well, really.
Did he?
The States.
Did he?
I think he did.
Did he, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was only really one meal he didn't actually
Panda Express.
Plate off, and
Second time.
The second time. But then your showing the first time was atrocious.
My what?
Your showing in the first.
Oh, sorry. Was that the day I was like dying?
You were ill.
Oh, sorry.
You were ill. I was merely stating.
Yeah.
Where I performed quite well at Panda Express. Other places, not so much.
No.
You know, you had to finish me
every other place.
Me cheese steak Philly.
Yeah, but that was only because
half and half.
That was only because
it was too early.
That was only because I'd eaten so little.
No, but it was too early anyway in the morning. I couldn't have ate all of that.
Yeah. But people panicked on that day, though. People suggested that there was really good food to eat around the train station, and there wasn't.
It looked like there was. Yeah, but we saw what we wanted when we'd already eaten, which was the coffee with croissants and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, maybe we should have had a better look around.
Well, we probably should.
Instead of people running to McDonald's.
That wasn't even.
I want to go to McDonald's. I've never had an American McDonald's. You get a toy in the box.
It was the wrong one anyway. We went to just the Jag one, not even the real one. Garen says France has lots of young talent. Got to get it right though. It does. Tom says it annoys me that you fellas were given the green light to interview Marco Silva a couple of years back, but now they won't let you have a 2-minute chat with Frank. What's happened there? Well, we were scheduled to have a chat with Frank. Then the club changed it to after the Minnesota game, and then he didn't want to talk to anyone after the Minnesota game. So we were kiboshed. Adam says only Everton could let a player announcement leak before they were ready. And Dean says they leak everything lately. Amateurs. Gareth says meant to post on Monday, but hats off to Paddy Pimlet for his heartfelt speech after his fight, encouraging men with depression to speak out and not bottle it in. A very important message to put across, very heartfelt on a big stage. Well done, lad. Shame he's a massive cop-out, but saying that if you could get Molly to talk him into doing a derby preview, yeah. I don't know, he's been in a few times, Paddy. Could we really sit in the room? Well, I've heard him ripping Everton before. No. He's a bit hard to argue with, isn't he?
I'd argue with.
Oh, no, you would. Yeah. Ross says, all right,
lads.
Not
sure you get anywhere near them, though, now. That's why I was so insistent on getting Molly for the documentary for the end of the season. She's got the Rock.
Well,
chatting to her now, do you know what I mean? You know, we got. I was desperate to get in the documentary, and I made sure I was on a hill in Wales sorting out an Uber for her.
Ross says, all right, lads, Dwight McNeil is a terrible signing. I'm all for poaching standout players from poor sides, but it seems that we are signing McNeil because we can't get Cornet. Doesn't add anything and is a total waste of money. Keep up the good work. Love the content. Cheers, Ross. Garrett says, enjoyed the women's semi-final last night, jumping on the bandwagon a bit as I don't normally watch it. One thing I was really impressed with is that England never set back on a lead. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, even 4-0. They were pushing for more rather than sitting back. Wish Everton and England's men's team would do that more. Just getting one goal and sitting on it, often their downfall.
Yeah, there was a real, like, the bits I saw of it, like, it was real. There's a real sort of gung ho way of doing things. They don't get me wrong. They're not haven't got the tactical nous and everything, but they don't get caught up in that thing of like, you know, like when England went 1-up last year against Italy, and it was like, oh, we better be careful here because we know from what we've been told before the game that this could happen and that can happen. So last night, by watching it, I don't know what happened in the fan, of course, I was watching it thinking they're attacking the game as they're playing it. They're not thinking about all the things they've been told and how this might happen and that might happen, because there's a tendency to sit back and then it will happen, whereas they just went for it and they got the goals brilliantly.
Terry says, evening gents, I know you haven't been big admirers of McNeil, but do you think we could be standing too close to a picture so we can't see it yet? Is it possible that the club are trying to move towards a more balanced squad made up of younger players on healthier wages, like McNeil, Gordon, Patterson, Michalenko, with a couple of older core players like Tarkovsky? I know there's still a lot of player recycling to go before we get there, and you may argue that players need to be of better quality too. But could it be said that we're slowly trying to do a northern version of what Palace are doing with young London players? I mean, that's a great way of looking at it.
Bringing everyone from the north in. The north.
Look, Dwight McNeil, I'm not his biggest fan. Doesn't mean he's not a good footballer. I think he's got a lovely left foot. I just don't think he's dynamic enough for what we need right now. Because I think he's all right in a team with dynamism, if other players have got it, but we're lacking in that area. He doesn't score goals. Assists are he hasn't got assists, but assists are a different. Yeah. They're neither here nor there. He created a lot of chances last season, so maybe he'll come in. Frank Lampard will have a way of playing for him, and he'll come in and he'll be able to create for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Like I said, his left foot is quality. Don't question about that. And if there's a plan, then sound. And sometimes you do look at players and go, well, what are we getting in for? It's just that when we've done that in the past, we've been proved right. We've gone, that happened.
He strikes me as one of those players that if you pick them up for $2.5 million, you'd go, yeah, that's a really good deal. That,
15 I'm more comfortable with. Last summer, we were looked at him and it was 30 and 35, and like, are you messing? 30 million for him. And he went on and scored 1 goal all season. Yeah. Just have to see. You might be right, Tess. He's 22, so he's still learning the game. You know, we're talking about Anthony Gordon and saying, he's only 21. So, maybe he could come in and maybe he could do well for Everton. Hope he does. I hope he comes in brilliant for Everton. That's what we want, don't we? We want players to come in and be fantastic and we can be delighted with them. That's what we're hoping for. I think if we'd have got like a number 6 in, and we'd have got like say Brozier in or someone like that, and then we were getting Dwight McNeil, you'd go, all right, it adds to what we're doing. It's just because we've still got 2 big areas, I think, and he cannot be the replacement for Richarlison.
No,
because he's not. So that's what I mean. If sometimes it's that's why clubs will say, look at us at the end of the window.
Do you think he'd play off the left or the right?
I think he might play him off the right, so he cuts onto that.
There's no natural. There's no real. I know he didn't play all the games, Townsend, but obviously there's been no sort of natural replacement for him as such. I know he didn't play every game, but on the other side we've got Gordon and we've got Gray like coming off that side, and also if you're playing wing backs, and they're going to push high.
No, well, I imagine he would be off the right, because then what that'll do is he gets hold of the ball. It allows Patterson to go on the outside of him. Yeah, and then
you can come in and use the space.
Come in and bend it in for Dom to get on the end of or whatever. So it makes sense in that.
Oh, you've convinced me.
But I just what I find a little bit strange is though if they were. And I know that they did inquire about Cornet. I'm not sure it was as far down the road as some people said, and then to go to him, I'd rather him just have gone for him all summer, if that makes sense. But sometimes things present themselves as you go through the summer and you go, like Dwight McNeil, they might have gone in May 2021.
But our scouting seems to have gone Watford, Wolves, Burnley, ex-players. They're our 4 staples of any pre-season now. It just seems a bit weird.
Adam says even if Guy does come back, do you not feel we still need another body in there? Well, yeah, if it was me, I'd be getting 2. But you've got to be real, haven't you? Now, if Everton get rid of Andre Gomez as well, then there might be scope for one more, especially with Tyler Onyango going out on loan. There might be scope for another, which may well or may well not be Ross Barkley. So maybe Everton will do someone else as well as Gana, if they can get Gana over the line. Who knows?
I think there's a situation where we've got to put the pieces together, and it's difficult, isn't it, when you're trying to do different things at different times, and you're holding out maybe for your number one target who might cost a certain amount, so you can't. You've only got a certain amount to spend if you want that big one at the end.
If Everton, you've got Tarkowski, you've got Vinagre, and if Everton got Gana, McNeil, and Brozier, how would you feel about that as a window? Because you'd have a dominant centre back.
I'd feel like we'd sign players,
but you wouldn't have any. Wouldn't be
it doesn't excite me. It doesn't excite me because they're just very practical footballers. A lot of them, they just are.
Isn't that the Premier League for most teams?
I know, but we're on the catch up now. A lot of teams are buying quality, or decent quality. I think they're just the players you just mentioned there are all just players who can do a job. And that's where we are at the moment. It doesn't excite me. It's just they're just players. None of them excite me. They're just players who are going to play and get us through a period of our time. Yeah. But none of them really excite me. I can't sit here thinking, "Oh, James Tarkowski. Oh God, Gana's 33. He's gonna. Oh, Brozier. He's on the other side of it, but he still doesn't excite me. He's more just like he could be good in a couple of years or a year or so. Gonna have to let him play. So they're all just very practical players for the time being.
Okay. Bobby says McNeil can actually cross a ball. Okay, yeah. Tiki Mink says more potential value in McNeil because he's 22 and English. Yeah. Mondolus says you could worse than doing following Palace's recovery plan seems to be helping. Well, they've done really well, haven't they? Tiki says Dwight McNeil's delivery is really good, no doubt about that one. The Matty Bush says loved Paddy's in-ring interview. More of us need to find someone to talk to when we're at our lowest instead of trying to deal with it on your own. He's a proper scouser who's good at heart. Max says we've gone from wanting Barca players to pretty much only relegated players that haven't even performed at their club. Well, I guess you've got to. I guess at the end of the day, you've got to take what you can get.
You've got to find the middle
ground. We are where we are.
Yeah, you've got to find that middle ground, haven't you? It's not. At the end of the day, we've been banging the drum for a couple of years now about the players who are available. The way football is being, or footballers are being scouted. It's changed massively in the last 2 or 3 years, and we just haven't changed with it. We've been slow to it when we should have been one of the first ones to do because of our financial situation. We should have been heavily scouting players across Europe, getting in there for four to £8 million bids, getting them in, and then giving them a couple of years to bed in and get up to speed with everything. And we haven't. We've gone out there and just bought players who may have already failed elsewhere, or just your genuine run-of-the-mill Premier League players who go from one team to the next. And as I said, there's a lot of proof out there in the likes of Brighton who have done things brilliantly, and it's just weird that we can't seem to follow that path and are determined to do it in a way which doesn't work, or certainly stopped working. Bringing in, we had our, we sort of set the path out for other teams how not to do it, and yet we still seem to be on that path ourselves in a lesser way. Obviously financially, we're not bringing the same kind of players, but yeah, something's got to give, I think, at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, we've got Brian on the line. Have we got Brian?
Just left us to see he's back.
Is he back? Brian.
Is he there?
Yes.
Go on, Brian.
You hear me?
Yeah, go on, mate.
All right. Just a quick one here. It seems to be we're in a very similar position now, that is the club, as when David Moyes took over. We have we had an aging squad and no money, and now we have a very weak squad and no money. And considering that the current chairman was there last time round, do you think that he'd had the experience and the knowledge and the contacts to pull us through, as it did last time? But I'm not sure that this board's up to it, because the financial constraints seem to be a lot harsher now than they were then. So what I'm thinking now is that we, the fan base, have got to calm down. We've got to accept that this is going to take about 3 seasons before we can be challenging for Europe. Seriously. We might have a good run, but I think the strength of the squad with the financial limitations is going to be difficult to strengthen direct straight away quickly. So we've got to calm down, and I think people like yourselves and other YouTubers have a responsibility to keep the fan base calm. Because Evertonians, as we are aware, tend to get carried away with things, are eternally optimistic and over-optimistic in many ways, and this is part of our problem. So I just think we've got to calm down, be patient, and accept the fact it's going to take a couple of seasons before we are serious challenges. You can stay there and not just have a one-off season.
I slightly disagree with you, Blythe, because I'm not even thinking about Europe. I'm thinking about surviving. So I'm not even thinking. My eyes are nowhere near Europe, and I'm not even thinking about bridging the gap. So I understand what you're saying, but for me, I'm just thinking about making sure that we are nowhere near the trouble we were in last season, and that to me is the goal. You know, being around mid-table is the goal. So Europe, I'm not even thinking anywhere near Europe. I'm really not. And I appreciate the situation we're in. We're not going to be buying players to get us anywhere near Europe. So I'm just thinking about getting us around mid-table and using that as the jumping off point for next season and the season after. Hopefully when we're in Bramley Moor. So we'll wait and see. You know, if Everton are bringing in players and we feel like they're quality and they fit in with what we've got, we'll improve what we've got, then I don't think there'll be any problem as such if we feel like we're moving in the right direction. But I am definitely not thinking about Europe anytime soon.
No, agreed. That's what I'm saying. We've got to put that on the back burner for 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah. But I honestly, I don't think anyone's thinking.
I agree. We could be in a relegation fight next season. I think Bad's a bit optimistic. I think we're going to struggle. I think we're about 15th, 14th, 12th at best is where I expect us to end up. Because where we are now, we're buying players, but used to be bought by the likes of Wolves and Burnley, Watford. Now we're in that market. We're not in that market a step above them. Yeah. We've now gone down to that level. And the supporter base just don't want to understand it, which is a problem because they tend to be a little irate at times.
No, and I think there's every right, though, because you're talking about that. And why are we in this position, though? Like, I'm irate a lot of the time because we're in this position. Because I look at the quality of the squad now, and I look at the quality of the squad 18 months ago, and the players we've lost just in that short time, the players we've lost from the team that finished on 59 points, the quality, and that was from a team that finished 10th in the Premier League. You know, but the drop in quality from that team to this one is huge drop there of goals, assists, and just general quality. So I think it's perfectly fine for people to ask questions of why that's happened in the space of 18 months, because that's all it is really. It's 18 months where we've gone from a team that was functional under Carlo, got 59 points. 59 points last season would have got us Europe, and we are now looking at the players we're bringing in, or the lack of players we're bringing in, and it is quite worrying. It is quite worrying. I know there will be more movements in the next couple of weeks because we're at the other end now of the transfer window. We're at the bit where free transfers and loan deals and deals that
clubs want to do business.
Yeah,
now.
Clubs want to do business, don't they? Now, so we are.
There's one out before the World Cup.
There's no. I'm not saying we're scraping the barrel as such, but this is now our end. This is our period now where we will start to bring players in because the quality. The quality is gone, but that I think that's more what worries people is why are we in this situation? And you're right. You said at the very beginning. You're absolutely spot on. It mirrors what Moyes came into, and we have to be as clever as Moyes, and also as ruthless. We have to be prepared to say you're going, and you're going to be replaced by this lad, and this lad, and then get that ethos, which is you can't buy that ethos. You have to create that ethos, don't you? Of a hard-working side that will put more out than it actually has, and that's something we found under Moyes. We were always overachieving, and that's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to a squad that overachieves.
I don't know overachieve. I thought they've battled their way to I don't call it success, but the results they got because they were FA Cup semi-final, one final. We were into Europe. We were regularly, we were up there, 6th, 7th, 8th. We were nosing around all the time.
But financially, we
can't do it now.
No, but financially, exactly. we overachieved then, didn't we?
It took a long time to get there. And that's what the process we're going to go through again.
I disagree with you. I don't think it did take Moyes a long time. I think his first season, we finished 7th, and then we had a drop off the next season. But then in his third season, we finished 4th. Then we were 4th, 6th, 7th. We were all around this. So I think it's about creating something we can't see, which is an ethos, and it is about getting players working hard and getting rid of all the brats out of the squad, getting rid of the people he doesn't want. And I do think it's just about it's overachieving for the financially for what you've put into the team. So you were spot on when you went at the beginning, as I say. It's about doing what Moyes did and being bigger than the sum of your parts.
Yeah, and you agree it's going to take 2 or 3 seasons, which
absolutely,
and, I just said that the fan base as a whole just got to realise this and not go off like a fireworks on bombing night and getting overheated and carried away, but being reasonable and understanding the situation and allowing things to develop as they are going to develop and understanding knowing the fact that we're not going to do a lot next season.
No,
I'd love us to win the League Cup, for example, but it's not going to happen.
To be honest, Brian, I honestly do think most fans don't believe we're going to do nothing. I think the fans' anger comes from why that's happening. I think most fans know that Everton are going to finish in the bottom half of the table next season. I'd say 99% of them think that. I think a lot of them want to know why we're in this position, and I think that's where the anger's coming from. I think most fans
know why, but like the previous caller said about the stay off Twitter and all those kind of things. Don't listen to the rubbish on these fan sites.
I don't know.
Keep a cool head.
But no, I understand what you're saying, but I for one don't feel like I need to keep a cool head. I am very angry at the situation at the club, and I think asking questions is a good thing. No, asking why we're in this. I think every Evertonian should ask the question: why are we in this position? We spent all this money.
Understanding that we are in the position and thereby not overreacting.
I know, but I don't know how you can overreact, though. That's what I'm saying.
Isn't it?
I don't know how you can overreact. I want to know how these people.
Passion.
I want to know how these people who run our football club have put us in a situation where we are bringing in the type of players we're bringing in, and we are all we all know we're going to finish in the bottom half next season. Someone, to me, has to... Exactly, it is horrible. And someone needs to be accountable for that, and no one seems to be accountable. And I think that's where the anger comes from. So, no, what I would say is, when you're at Goodison Park, all the focus on the team. When you're not at Goodison Park, all the focus on all the other stuff. To me, that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just saying that we have to understand where we are.
Yeah, sound.
And it's going to take a couple of seasons to get out of it.
You're absolutely right.
I
You're
agree,
absolutely
right.
right.
I agree.
One question before I let you go. What's for
dinner?
What's for tea, yeah?
No reindeer stalking.
No
Okay.
reindeer stargate.
Fair enough, all right. Oh, fair enough.
Fair dues.
I'm actually doing a chicken wok.
Fair enough. There you go. Can't get angry about that, can we?
No anger.
Bri, nice one for phoning in, mate.
Take care, mate.
Cheers, mate.
See you soon, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Ta-ra. Bye. Getting a full starkey on
There
there.
you go, getting the Starkeys on.
Yeah, okay. Bainey says, afternoon, guys. Does this signing mean something has been learned from last season? How many times were we stuck with no left backs? Or Vinagre, of course. 3 or 4 players tried there as we had nobody else. For the time being, I don't think we're capable of signing some of the ones we'd like, unless they were on the Littlewoods catalogue terms. And the fact we've overspent on crap we didn't want or need for so long, it bit us on the arse. USA look great, guys. It was great. David Stevens says a typical day for Everton scouts: 1, turn on FIFA. 2, search for players with Premier League experience. 3, look for someone their kids will have heard of. 4, go home and remember we had good times. Keithy says everyone thinking Vinagre is going to be a backup for Miko, but could it well be that it's the other way round?
Who knows?
Miko was improved in the attacking sense, but his defending is questionable.
But I don't think the lad we're bringing in is defensively.
I disagree with that. Tom says only just joined the live. I'm not sure it's been spoken about, but I'd 100% take Gana back. In the words of Baz, he waltzes into our midfield. He does. Keithy says Gana back will be good, but only at the right price and conditions. Something like a season-long loan or pay as you earn 1-year deal. We can't be paying over the odds for an ageing player. Be a loan, I think.
Yeah.
Garrett says talk of leaving everything late in the transfer market is extremely concerning. If you play 6 games in August, that's 15% of the season done before the window closes. Andrew says hearing a lot of Blues concerned about the scouting structure we have in place. Thelwell's net doesn't exactly seem to extend beyond Wolves, Burnley or players who played for us before. What are your thoughts on the scouting structure in place at Everton?
Yeah, it doesn't appear great on the outside, but I don't know. Maybe the remit is to just get players into the squad as fast as possible, and maybe they haven't had enough time to really delve into those kind of players abroad. Maybe they want like 6 to 8 months to really have a good look at players, or take a year to look at players, so they know that what they're paying for is worth it, or the risk, the gamble they're taking is worth it. So we'll have to wait and see. But so far, I'm underwhelmed. Definitely underwhelmed so far. Definitely. Right, we've got Austin on the line.
What's going on, guys?
Hello, mate. You okay?
Yeah, how are you?
Not too bad.
I just want to hop on here real quick while I'm on lunch from work and say it was great to meet you guys in Baltimore.
Awesome.
And I also just want to give a quick shout out because I only got to go to Baltimore actually because of Astro. I don't know if you guys saw, but he gave away his tickets on Twitter, and I just happened to win them. So I wanted to come originally, but it just wasn't going to work out financially. And then he sent me a message that I won the tickets. So
super.
I ended up getting to see that. So, but speaking of that, I just kind of want to hop on here real quick and see the last 2 years we've come to the U.S. That's a dog. Sorry.
That's all right.
We've come to the U.S. and it's kind of been last minute almost. Both announcements have been kind of last minute.
Yeah.
Is there, if we're looking safe, like I don't know, 3/4 of the year, is there a chance they'll announce stuff earlier on, or is there already talks that you guys have heard or anything like that where we can kind of plan earlier this year?
No, not that I'm aware of. I'm sure Everton will want to come back to America and make it their base for the pre-seasons. I think there's just a lot of contractual stuff that has to be agreed, and venues and who you're playing against and who else is coming to America. So and I think that's the way it is. I think that's the way it is for most clubs, if I'm honest, unless it's a really, really well organised tour. You know, so we'd all love it. Listen, we'd love it if Everton announced they were going to America in February and we could nail down dates of where they were going to be. That'd be absolutely fantastic. I mean, for a lot of fans, they could start planning at least, and would know where they needed to go. And obviously one of the things I sort of realised is when I was over there is, just because you're American and the games are in America doesn't mean it's still a done thing that you can get there. It's still miles away. It's still financially is a big issue getting from one side of the country to another or wherever, getting to the Midwest. So
I told you the internal flight for, like we were saying, we'll just get we'll just hop on a plane from DC to Minnesota, and my missus was like, it's like going to Spain. It's like 3 hours, you know, that's like a holiday. You get on a plane, you know, and like you're talking like it's nothing. So it is expensive. It's massive, the United States. People have to be given as much time as they can to plan it, and to save up for it and everything else.
Booking time off as well.
Booking time off work and all that. It's just, you know, but like Ped said, I think it is difficult with everything else that goes on. The planning and where you're going to be able to stay, what games you're going to be able to get in. Obviously MLS is going on at the same time and stuff, so I'm not convinced I'm not sure how early they would have it planned.
I just didn't know if I just didn't know if they could, I don't know, with Minnesota or Orlando or something, like if they could set up, hey, every year we're going to come play a game there and have like an agreement. Just with whatever connections already, at least maybe we don't know who we're playing or we don't know what's going on exactly, but
we'll be there for the week or whatever.
They should be around.
See, they should be in my opinion, but they might disagree with this. I think they should be in one place for a week, but they might turn around and go, well, no, the plan is to do 2 states, so 2 sets of fans get to see us or whatever. I don't know what the thinking is behind it. I would have, if it was up to me and I was planning it, it'd be 7 or 8 days, and Everton would play 2 games in that, and maybe the women's team was over there, or the 21s would be over there, and they'd play a game, and there'd be a couple of soccer camps for kids to attend in the day and stuff like that. And it'd be like a kind of Everton taking over. Say it's Orlando for 8 days, or it's Georgia or wherever. And you could say, right, Everton are there for a week and they got 2 games. I'm going to try and get there for a week, whatever it is, and give people that idea. But I don't know whether that will go against the club's strategy. They might say it's better for us to play in 2 different places. But I know this time, the Arsenal thing just came out of an opportunity that they needed someone to play in Baltimore, so we were offered the opportunity and we took it. Yeah,
I don't really see the point of moving to 2 cities, and Everton, it seemed very last minute as well for them to move to Minnesota. So if Everton could get, say, Orlando,
we got in on the Tuesday and went on the Wednesday. That's what I'm saying.
So if Everton could get like Orlando and they knew they were based there all week, Everton trained all last week in Washington, or nearly for 10 days in Washington. If Everton know they've got fantastic facilities in one place and they're going to be there for a week to 10 days and play 2 games, maybe 3 games, then that's what they should be looking at. And if they can do that off their own back as well and start creating that themselves, and then fans know that they can come down there, and I think that would be perfect. I think that would be perfect.
That's how I'd do it anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So hopefully Austin, they'll get something arranged a lot early, because I do think the plan is to go to America now, probably every year, I'd imagine. So hopefully they start getting the information out there a lot earlier.
Well, cool. I just want to hop on here real quick, like I said, on lunch, and again, big shout out to my boy Astro, and even coming from Kentucky, which I would consider we're like East Coast, it still is like a 9.5 hour drive. So
you're mad.
Yeah. So
brilliant.
All right, boys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Austin. Take care, pal.
Ta-ra.
Got about 18 minutes left if you want to get on. If you're a Premier member, so do it. Just seen something. Phil O'Neill says, a friend of mine is a Burnley season ticket holder. He thinks McNeil is a good player. He works very hard at getting the ball back. He said, if Richarlison's a 9, then McNeil is a 7. So make it that what you will. Okay. Lou says, really don't get the fume over McNeil, to be honest. He's a year older than Gordon and currently much better, in my opinion. For me, he's a good replacement for Townsend, and last season's numbers don't reflect his potential. Saying that, it'd have to be 10 to 15 million, though, to make sense. Yeah. Bainey says, I really don't like the idea of Barkley coming back. He treated us badly, but he was young and naive. I agree with you guys that he'd walk into our team at the moment. We have to cut our cloth accordingly. Would he be grateful coming home? I'd like to think so. Something to prove for us. Most definitely, he'd have to reconvince a lot of fans. Desperate times and all that. It's whether or not it's worth, for both sides, him coming back here, isn't it?
Yeah.
As a footballer, he gets into our midfield because we have no one who travels with the ball the way he does. But is it worth it with the baggage that goes with it?
I really don't know. I can't speak for other people, and I don't want to.
And I'm not saying I'd like him back.
I don't want to speak on it like other people's behalf, because
I know he's put his Everton pictures back up on his Instagram.
Oh yeah, and he liked the stadium picture today, so
he's all going full retreat mode.
More than the tip.
Fine. Lou says Defo wouldn't say he's not dynamic. Baz, he completed the second most dribbles, and he isn't dynamic though, Lou, is he? He's a good dribbler with the ball. He's not dynamic. Yeah. He's not he's not like Anthony Gordon, the way he travels with the ball either, but he's got nice feet with the ball. He's a good footballer. Just saying, I'm not convinced he's exactly what we need. That's
right, we got Lars on the line. Are you there, mate?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate. Go on.
Hi, it's alright. Yeah, it's just on after the Blackpool game.
Yeah.
Not to get carried away. I just thought that I was really happy that finally we seem to have some sort of patterns of play. Because last season, I was getting a bit worried because it did seem to be just dig in and hope for the best, which I get it because, Frank was only here 5 minutes. But I just thought that Blackpool was the first time I've seen patterns of play, and, that was get it wide and get it in the box, which, although that's like the most obvious type of football, I don't think we saw it last season at all. It didn't seem to be get it wide, throw it in, and we were just hoping last season. But even the centre-backs, I know Godfrey tried a few switches of play up to Malenko, and Tarkowski did it to Patterson. I just think it's great what Frank's done, because I think what he's looked at the midfield and gone, I need 3 new midfielders, 3 new starting midfielders. I'm not going to get that in one season. So why don't we play 3 at the back, play it wide, use Patterson, use Malenko, and use Dom, he's going to thrive off those crosses. So I think that we can be a little bit positive and just think it's not going to be a great season. I think we'll stay up, but I don't think it'll be a great season. I think until Frank's got another 2 transfer windows under his belt and we've replaced that whole midfield, I think we're going to be playing like this, it's almost percentage football, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, when we were out, we were out watching the games in the States, and the football that they're attempting to play, I've got no problem with that. It's just that in both games they were let down by the midfielders when they took the ball. I think the difference was on Sunday is that a lot of the times Tarkowski was hitting those first time passes, and it mixed it up a little bit. It mixed it up getting the ball out there. So to me, that's a better way of looking at things, and certainly with Patterson and Michalenko were a lot higher on Sunday as well, so they were in positions where the Blackpool players couldn't really pick them up, and it meant we were getting players closer to them, and yeah, so I do think there's a defined way of playing, and I've seen that, and I know last week in Minneapolis when we were having a chat to a couple of people in the bar, they said, I didn't think we played too badly, and it was just that we got caught a couple of times and we were making chances, which they might just have cooler heads than me, but I think they were. You could see, and this is something I think me and Baz said last week. You could see what they were trying to do. We just didn't have the players to do it. Now Frank Lampard's just got to find an in between, and I think on Sunday I did think we saw a little bit more of a a little in between style of getting the ball out wide quicker. So I think he knows how he wants to play. Now's the difficult part. This is about now bringing in players who can actually execute what he wants.
Yeah, that's because I think people we might have to get used to still getting cut open in the middle, because it doesn't matter how good the manager you are, you can't make players like Tom Davies turn into really athletic, really fast, get about the pitch, can pick a pass but can also break up play. I feel like he's almost going to say to, if the start midfield say it is Davies and Decore or Davies and Allen, I think they're going to be bypassed. I think he might just say, we're going to knock it long. If we do play through the midfield, just throw it out to the wings, because that's quite a basic thing for midfielders to do. None of them, as you say, can travel with the ball. Until we get a midfielder like that, I think we're not going to have to play this, long balls and hope for the best. So it's not going to. I don't think we can get our hopes up too much for the season. But I do think Frank is he will be doing his best, and I like what he's doing. That he has thought, I can't buy a full new midfield in one transfer window, especially with very little money. So let's just play this and use what we've got. Because Patterson, I really like him. I don't think he's going to be great defensively yet. I think he'll learn that. But the fella can cross, and Dom will love that. Malenko, I don't think we saw the best of Malenko, because last season, whenever he was running up the wing, Gray was stood there or Gordon was stood there. Yeah. And I think you were commenting on it before, the amount of times he ran up on the left and was like, pass me the ball, and he just got bypassed, because obviously it's not their game. Like Gray and Gordon want to cut in.
They're selfish players.
Yeah.
They are quite selfish
sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, no, they are selfish players. They use the fullback as a decoy rather than. Now sometimes you've got to use that. You've got to be the decoy and let them have the ball. That's where Pienaar and Baines were amazing. That both of them knew exactly when it was the right time to either go inside or play the ball wide. That's what they were brilliant at. That those two players are not in. Gordon and Gray aren't intelligent enough yet to understand how to use the fullback. So hopefully, if they're higher up the pitch and maybe those two players or whoever, even if it's Dwight McNeil, they'll be a little bit more inside now, and he'll get more space, and Patterson will get more space on the right. Yeah.
Well, David Ornstein said that it's all done.
Yeah, David Ornstein saying that Everton have reached a total agreement with Burnley to sign Dwight McNeil for fee undisclosed, but thought to be 20 million, 5-year deal. Woo! Woo. Have you got any party poppers, Ned? No, okay, mate. There you go. So, happy days are here again.
There you go.
Be a good player. Never know.
There you go. You never know.
With the McNeil thing, and obviously was it Vinagre or I don't want to say Viagra.
Just make a name up.
Vinegar.
Yeah.
Vinegar.
Same fella from the Stranger Things, wasn't he?
Portuguese Vinegar, that lad. It just shows you that, all the rumours about transfers, so many of them are just absolute lies, because we never heard anything about either of those players until I felt like this afternoon, and they're both done.
I know.
It's mad, isn't it? You just think there's not, and then like that Adrian is that his name, from Watford? How long did that go on? And obviously not in progress. Same with Cornet and all that. Just shows there's not in any of these rumours, is there?
Well, the agents like to put their names out there, and newspapers have got inches to fill or websites to fill, so it is what it is, and it happens every year. But we've got nothing else to do, have we? So we're going to talk about players that we can just make names up, and it has been known. Just make names up, say they're linked with Everton, and see how far you can get them down the line. So we might do that next year.
You'll probably get on the Echo if you start tweeting it. Just see if you can get it on the Echo. I don't know who we could say.
Imagine it.
Like someone that's slightly realistic, but is a bit.
I did mention Martin Terrier early on yesterday, and it was everywhere in the night. Yeah, it was broken in the night.
Was it broken? Was it? Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I do remember you talking about Martin Terrier, and then other people claiming it. Yeah. There you go, Lars. Thanks for your call, mate. Thanks for the much. Cheers. See you later, mate. Ta-ra, mate.
Ta-ra. The I know. Hot them, aren't they? People obviously, some people are not happy. James 505ism says he's sick of this club over the McNeil deal. Says the recruitment is awful. Others seem to like. I mean, just very quickly before we go, just in the comments here, what are we thinking over Dwight McNeil then? We may as well talk about it now.
Didn't we put a poll?
It's fully out there.
Did we put a poll out on YouTube on McNeil?
Yeah, he did. I think he did. Sure? And on Twitter.
You put one on YouTube?
No, that was Gana.
So haven't you done
yeah. Alright, get me the YouTube thing.
Can you put...
Where are we up to?
Can you put one out on
So
YouTube?
At the moment, our poll on YouTube is for Gana, and 82% of Evertonians will take him back.
Yeah.
Right now, of people voting, Lewis White simply says, "Shite for McNeil." So there you go. Lewis has had his say there.
He's had his say. He thought fight and he's got in there.
Yeah, no worry. So that's terrifying.
I actually just read that out about 3 seconds ago.
Terrifying. W. Mully says relegate us now. So he's not quite happy.
I mean, that sounds like you want to be relegated.
No, I think he's just, yeah. So basically, what have you got, Ned? Come on. The Matty Booth says McNeil is just like the other signings, they're just meh. Cato says doesn't mind McNeil. Jack Lad says after wait and see could turn out to be a belter signing.
Could be £18 up front.
Those pick all the polls are in the community tab on our YouTube channel, obviously. Sam says not too bad, think he'll be a good player, let's wait and see. Steve says didn't think it'd be humanly possible for us to become any slower, but here we are. There you go. It's not.
I do appreciate
it's
that.
Not massively overwhelmingly.
It's very underwhelming. Yeah. I must admit, I was going to pay 20 million quid for someone. It wasn't going to be Dwight McNeil.
No.
It wasn't going to be Dwight McNeil that I was going to spend the 20 million on. Like, well, yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Let's see how he does. He might be boss.
He might be absolutely boss. He might be Baz.
Say puts like loads of crossing, Dom heads them in, we're all made up. That's what you got to look at. I mean,
that's what
Andy Hinchcliffe was awful as a footballer, genuinely
awful as a pundit.
He's awful as a footballer, but his left foot was beautiful. Why Howard Kendall kept selling him because the kid couldn't defend.
Going on there.
He couldn't run. He couldn't defend. But his left foot was brilliant. Lines, he says, even the lads and fellow Blues. Do you think Frank will give Dobbin a chance this season? Nope. I don't. I think he may well go on loan.
Blackpool.
I think he might go on loan. Tom says Everton can achieve nothing in the League Cup competitions while putting in the building blocks of a good recruitment strategy.
No one can do anything in the League Cup anyway.
Yeah.
Why do people think? Why does anybody anywhere think anyone other than a top 4 side come in the League Cup now?
It's
gone.
A top 4
all those trophies, they've gone. They've gone. Only top 4 teams win trophies.
Because the top 4 have realised that they can only win. Really, one of them wins most of them, so they just try and grab whatever they can now because it keeps the momentum going.
I hear it every year though. So fuck, I get League Cup. Who wins the League Cup? Who was the last team outside the top 4 to win the League Cup?
Been a while. It's been a while. City won 5 on their own, didn't they? 4 on their own, and who won it this year?
Liverpool.
Not shy on it, didn't they? Yeah. So you'd have to go back 6 years at least, don't you? I can't even remember. It's been City for that long that I can't remember.
And before them it was like Chelsea. Was it
so.
Birmingham City the last team?
2012, can't be. Oh, it was Liverpool 2012, Birmingham 2011 or 2013, can't remember. Beat Arsenal, didn't he, 2-1. But yeah, in general, most teams who win it at the top 2 or 3, aren't they? United won it, didn't he? Zlatan scored.
Yeah.
Against Southampton, that was a few years ago. Mourinho, 2016. So yeah, it's probably, it might well be Birmingham, you know. Keithy says, just responding to Ped about having a functional squad 18 months ago, what do you think the key difference is?
We sold all
in my head, it's because we've lost Gylfi and Dean, Nina becoming injury prone, and Coleman.
We sold all our good players. Just a simple fact.
Yeah. Maya says, even gents, see Brian mentioned Moyes there, would you guys take him back if it doesn't work out for Frank?
Swansea City 2013.
Yeah, so that's 2013.
And they beat Bradford City in the final. 5-0. Yeah. That was the last team. Since then, it's Liverpool City, Chelsea City, Swansea.
United must have been.
And then before that, it was
United must have been there because Zlatan scored.
Yeah, 2017. Sorry. And before that, it was Liverpool, Birmingham, United, Tottenham, Chelsea, United, Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then there's a bit of a mix then.
Well, Swansea beat Chelsea in the semi, didn't he? When Hazard kicked the ball, boy. But Bradford were in the final.
So there you go. No one's winning the League Cup.
No. Tim says our boys against Celtic in the Sydney Cup. Hopefully the club will finally realise how big the following here is in us. Can't wait for it. Hopefully you boys can.
It's just so far away.
It's just miles away.
And you've got spiders. Do you know what I mean? You've got spiders and snakes and kangaroos that can knock box Ned's head off.
Oh. A koala that box.
Yeah, to be fair,
let's be honest. Brad says here, with new 5 subs allowed, given our limited finances, the likelihood of getting quality starters is probably low. So maybe our plan is to buy squad depth. So
just buy loads of subs.
Buy lots of subs. I know.
Oh, boss.
Yeah. Where are we here? Gray Lead says we'll take Gana for a couple of seasons, so let younger lads like Onyango develop and take the reins.
That's what's going to happen when it looks at me.
Tim says McNeil's a great footballer. He's played out of position and used for his ability to spot a pass and put a cross in. He works hard and will improve and fill out with age. Okay.
Is he though?
Richard says, what does Piv say on McNeil? Interesting that the so-called best sources in the business haven't had a clue on the last 2 moves. Could be reasons. Everton learning to keep quiet, or most likely the full of shite. Hopefully it is Everton being quiet, because it's always good when you do your business like that, isn't it? It's what like Liverpool do there in the top clubs. It stops the fume. It
does stop the
fume. And,
you can get a deal done in 24 hours or 36 hours. It does stop the fume.
Yeah.
Of like, why isn't it being done yet? It's like, what being done?
Jack Ladd says James Rodriguez reportedly on Merseyside to have his medical.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Where are we?
Yeah.
Just trying to check if there was anything else there.
Yeah.
Tommy says Gana would still make a big difference to that team. He plugs the holes. Who would you sign, Terrier or Brozier? Says Ahmed, if Juventus take a Keane's clause. Terry is very good. Can play wide. Got a lot of goals. Brozier, if you get him right, could be fantastic. It's a tough one, that is a tough one. Reece says, I think we should just get Rooney out of retirement.
Text him.
Text him and ask him, I think he's happy managing now. Many he realises he's happy managing. Yeah. Anyone else seen a late freebie of Belotti? Think he's a proper Everton striker?
It's not. Well, he is a proper Everton striker.
Adam says, are we taking bets on when the McNeil interview will be leaked by Everton?
They didn't leak it as such. They just ticked the button. The button on YouTube that you shouldn't tick. Ned learned this very early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we're going.
We're done.
Thank you very much. Give the
thanks for all the callers. Loads of callers tonight. See how much better it is when there's callers.
Yeah, boss.
It's so much better when there's callers. So much better.
Loads watching. Thank you very much. Subscribe if you haven't. We love it. You want to become a Premier member? The link's in the description. There's the QR code on the screen. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. Up the McNeil Blues. See you later.
Pew pew.